Hello everyone. Sorry that we have take some time and we have some issues and technical problem. I'm sorry about that, but Dr. Sharita, she is very energetic and very positive. She support us a lot, so that's why after 30 minutes we start our sessions. So welcome World Talent Economy Forums. It's a 52th episode, and there are many different people from different countries, different culture. They are joining today. Dr. Sharita, she is very positive. Most importantly, she's a researcher. She do a lot of activities from India with around the world. So how are you? How are you today? And how is everything?
Fine, thank you. Fine, thank you, Mr. Sharif. You have been such a sport, I must say. And I would also like to thank World Talent Forum and you, Mr. Sharif, for inviting me as a guest, having me here. I'm elated. I'm very happy to be part of this wonderful event.
Yes, thank you. Can you introduce yourself with our audience? What you do professionally, and what's your background, and what you love to do. I know you have many interesting activities. Can you share with our audience?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Mr. Sharif. I am basically an academician and a writer. I believe that I'm a writer. I'm a published writer, of course. I translate from regional Indian languages to English also. I write poetry, I write short stories, fiction, and of course, academic is part of my mental make. Along with that, I am associated with TAFFD, the full form of which is Transdisciplinary Agora for Future Discussions. I handle the magazine part of it. I have been coordinator and editor in chief of the magazine since its inception. And we've already come up with the first edition of it. It was published last year. And this year we are working on the second edition of the magazine. I come from a very small town called Tezpur in Assam, which lies to the extreme northeast of India. So thanks to technology, even being in a small town, I'm connected to TAPS, which is a non-governmental organization registered in the USA. It's in the USA. And together we are working towards a future which we envision as being very bright and better and equal for every one of us. And along with TABS, I'm also involved with a number of organizations here in my area, in the locality, where we are engaged in gender questions, women empowerment. We are working at a very tertiary level, especially amongst women who belong to the extremely, who are at the very end of the social hierarchy. Women who mostly work as caregivers and household help in the homes of other people. So these kind of women who do not even have basic education, we're working with these kinds of women in order to create consciousness amongst them on the issues of women empowerment, on how they can bring about a change in their lives, on how they can make their own lives as well as the lives of the children better. So that way I'm involved with a lot of organizations, and I try my bit every day in order to make the world a better place for each one of us in whichever ways I can.
Okay, this is very interesting, and most importantly, you are women and you are trying to change many interesting issues from your community and international arena. My question is that what's the present condition in right now in India in COVID-19 situations, and like how your organizations or you are trying to solve these things?
Well, as in the rest of the world, India is faring no better, even though we have to mention the tireless work put in by our healthcare professionals, our administration, the government, everyone, in order to contain the situation as much as possible, in order to provide relief as much as possible. But this pandemic is something which has caught all of us unawares. No one was prepared. I mean, if you go back a couple of months before this day, we could not have envisioned that something like this would have hit us and hit us this bad. So no one in the world was actually prepared for something like this. So when something hits you totally unaware, the entire system in place gets displaced. We cannot exactly blame anyone for not having done enough, for not having prepared enough for something like this. Because when you don't see something, how can you prepare for it? Anyway, we are having the cases are rising almost every day. I'm so sorry to say, and even in my part of the country as well as the entire country, we are facing issues. The disease is spreading every day. There are economic and social repercussions which have followed the disease. There are so many other issues, especially women who, I find they are in a very disastrous situation in some cases. So many things have come all together, and we are trying our best, whatever we can, in whatever position we can. We are trying to create a difference to the lives of the people who have been badly affected by this virus. My organization, TAFFD, the magazine this time is dedicated to COVID-19 and the repercussions that have followed the emergence of this pandemic. So we are working on it. Then there are women issues which we are grappling with. I also work with a team which counsels such women, which gives counseling to such women who are uh, uh, victims of domestic violence. That is again reared its ugly head. It has always been there, of course. I wouldn't say that it was never there. It was always there. But this post-COVID, this lockdown situation has only increased, has only aided to the already existing problems of gender violence. And I have also been counseling a group of women who have had to undergo violence in their homes, who have no recourse to the outside world because they are in lockdown. They cannot move out of their homes. There is no escape from the abuser. Earlier, at least, the women could have gone somewhere. They could have gone to their relatives' place. They could have gone to their friends' place. They could have gone to their workplace, and at least they could have asked for some kind of aid, some kind of help. But now they are totally helpless. They have no means, no recourse to escape their abuser. And the only thing that we can do is to counsel them, to help them to mentally be strong and alert and try to fight the situation as much as they can.
Yes,
Yes.
you are working with international NGO, right? And you are trying to working with the global arena. What's the impact on these situations, and how actually you are working, or is there any solution you're getting from international community in that particular situation?
Let me tell you a little about TAFFD. TAFFD is a transdisciplinary agora for future discussions. Uh, the vision of TAFFD is to be an umbrella organization where we can bring in experts, scholars, and researchers from all discipline into one umbrella, and together we can work. Together we can focus on making lives better for every one of us, on the challenges that the future will surely bring in to us. The future will definitely unfold in the days to come. So even at TAFFD, while we're still working at what kind of a future we can envision, we could not have thought of something like this. But yes, are in talks with several experts. We are in talks with organizations who have been doing a lot in order to bring relief to the people. At this moment, the only thing that we can think of, the only thing any organization in this world can do is to think of how to bring about relief to the people, to the lives of the people. Uh, we, the medical fraternity, the scientists, the researchers are doing the work. They are working on the vaccines, they are working on the medicines. But we, as a non-governmental organization, our priority is on the socio-economic and political aspects of people's lives. And yes, we're trying. We are definitely trying to do that. We're definitely in talks with people of other organizations. Within the organization, also, we always brainstorm and how we can make changes on how we can bring relief to the lives of the people who have been badly affected by this pandemic.
Beside that, you handle scientific works, research, a magazine, and many interesting things. Do you want to share some interesting research or scientific works of you with our audience, or do you have any kind of plan that what will help us in this present pandemic situations?
Yes, we have many articles, many essays which have come to us in the course of this post-pandemic period, where some researchers are talking about how we can develop vaccines. There are some researchers who talk about how the entire virus must have started, although we do not have clear-cut data on it. And then again, yesterday, I came across an article wherein there are scientists who talk about the process through which they are coming to the point where the vaccine can actually be used on us, on general, on common people. So every day we are getting ideas of how people are working towards a solution. In the past also, in the last edition also, there were many interesting articles from people around the globe. They spoke on various issues, various challenges which are there in the world, which need to be discussed, which need to be given proper dialogue, but which we usually do not talk about. On a larger scale, it is restricted to a few people. I would recommend everyone to read the magazine, the earlier edition of it, because there are many interesting things which have come up, new research, new areas where people talk about not only just COVID, because last edition we did not have this COVID issue. There are so many other challenges facing us. There are so many other challenges, so many other issues which need to be discussed, brought to the fore, and we need to work towards a solution. I think you need to I would recommend everyone, I would suggest everyone, please read the magazine, the earlier edition of it, and then you will come to know what kind of work we are doing here, what kind of research we are encouraging, what kind of articles we are encouraging, and what exactly we are trying to do with TAFFD as a non-governmental organization, and where we are leading our readers and our research scholars towards.
Okay, this is very interesting. And when we do research, we find, even I'm working with University of Malaya and even WT Forum, many different universities they are joining, and they say that when scientific research come for industrial purpose, only 19% of their academic research they can use, they can implement. It means that 80%, almost 81%, it's not they cannot implement in industrial area. And as a scholar, what's your advice? How do you think, or how we can make it more effective for industry? How we can do more industry oriented research, and we can make a successful ventures? What your observation? What do you think? What you want to contribute in that area?
That's a very interesting area that you have come up with, Mr. Rana. I think it's very important for researchers to come out of their rooms, to come out of the tables, and visit the area they want to work on. It's very, very necessary for us to be on the field, to know what's happening. See, for instance, I would say that when we talk of women empowerment, we have all these laws in place. We have all these discussions happening everywhere that, okay, we need to do this, we need to do that. I mean, women need to do that, this and that. But then when you come to the field, you see these very uneducated, illiterate, say not uneducated, illiterate women who works in the homes of someone else in order to feed her family. And then when you try to bring in that discussion to her life, when you try to somehow see what good that discussion is doing to her, and you come to realize that this has not done anything in order to make her life better. This discussion, the research that we are doing inside our homes, the research that we are doing inside our living rooms, is doing no good to the woman on the street. It's doing no good to the person who is dying of hunger every day. So I think we need to come out of our comfort zones. We need to be there in the field. We need to see what's happening with our eyes, and then go research. We have had enough of theoretical research. I think we need to be more practical. We need to be more reality oriented in order to really find results for humanity at large. That's what I
Yes,
would like to say.
yes, yes. This is very interesting part. So when you work with the women empowerments and you are trying to solving their issues, actually, what the economical solutions right now you are thinking for your community or international community? I know you are doing work with many developing nations and worldwide. So how actually women can contribute in that arena? Economically, they can be more solvent, and we can engage more women in between this ecosystem. What's your idea and how you want to give us a real model?
The concept of women empowerment, I believe, has very close ties with economic independence of a woman.
Mhm.
Unless and until a woman can be economically independent, uh, she cannot claim to be truly empowered. Because
Mhm.
when you have access to finances, a lot of things become easier for you. When you are
Mhm.
still dependent on someone else for your finances, things become difficult for you. You do not have the kind of freedom that you wish for yourself. So I think it's
Mhm.
extremely important that we create equal economic opportunities for women. And here, let me tell you something that we need to change our mindset, especially in our
Mhm.
countries, in Asian countries. I see that, there's this conditioning that happens right from the birth of the girl child. In India also, we have so many evils. We have dowry system, we have female infanticide, fetus killing and all that. So people need to realize that a girl child is not a burden on them anymore. But I
Mhm.
think it'll require a lot of social conditioning, a lot of awareness, and a lot of pushing, which is not happening at the moment. Uh, so, uh, so like I was saying earlier, when we talk, when we have conferences, when we sit down for discussions, we are just giving satisfaction to ourselves. We are just satisfying ourselves that, okay, fine, we are doing this kind of discussion. We are talking for women empowerment, but then we are not in the field. We are not looking at how the common woman is surviving on the streets or in her homes, how she battles domestic violence every day, how she goes out of her home and is in constant danger of being raped or abused. So I think we need to answer these questions first, and we need to have a thorough social conditioning of the minds. And here it becomes very important that we, as parents, to sons, I think people who have sons have aided responsibility. It is not just about positively conditioning the mind of a girl child, but it's equally important to make the male child realize that the other person is not other. She has a different um, she is different from you. She is a woman, but she is equal to you. She is in no way lesser to you. So that kind of conditioning has to start from the home. from
Mhm.
home, from the neighborhood, from the religious places, and then even in schools. We need to have that kind of uh, education in place. We need to have that kind of conditioning so that we grow male children, we grow men who are more sensitive, who understand that gender exploitation is an evil and that they are not supposed to do this. So I think we have a lot of work here. This generation of people,
Mhm.
we are parents now. We are almost all of us are parents to children, to girls, to boys, and as children, as parents, it's our duty to make our children understand the repercussions of gender exploitation. What happens to the girl child, and why you, being in a superior position, so-called superior position, should not exploit anyone. I think it has become extremely, it is an urgent situation for us to make the boys understand this.
Mhm. Okay, but in present situation, if we observe that women performance is very good in different arena, in corporation, education, NGOs, even in politics, everywhere women try to contribute. Even if we focus on South Asian cultures and everything, even I'm from Bangladesh. Our prime minister, opposition leaders, our education ministers, speaker of the parliament, many important person, even corporations, there are many women, and women performance is very good. Even in academically, their performance is very good. Even in Malaysia, if I'm doing research on that particular point, yes, but yes, still there are challenge from culture, challenge from come from the family, challenge come from society. So if you are correct in one sense, like if we economically make a proper model for them, maybe we can empower them and we can do something for them. But as you are working in international arena, even with your NGOs, with your magazines, with your research contributions, what you find in different countries, even what the situation in other countries in Asia or in Africa or in Middle East, then what's your observation?
You are very right that some women are doing very well in the
Mhm.
public arena. All
Mhm.
women have the potential in them to do extremely well in the public arena, but
Mhm.
how many of them actually reach their potential? That's the
Mhm.
question that I have.
Mhm. Mhm.
How many women are we encouraging to be there? Today
Mhm.
I got a forward in one of the WhatsApp groups that the countries which are being ruled by women, like Germany and New Zealand and all, have contained COVID to a very large extent,
Mhm.
whereas countries which are ruled by men, like the UK and USA, are badly affected by COVID. Okay, this is just a meme, you might say, but then I have a strong belief that if women are at the helm of powers, so many problems will disappear. Maybe
Mhm.
because we have stronger communicative skills, we have an instinct, a kind of mothering and nurturing instinct, which kind of stops us from getting aggressive, from
Mhm.
getting violent. So I think we would do extremely well in the international arena. But as I was talking to you backstage, we were talking about that glass ceiling.
Mhm.
It is
Mhm.
extremely difficult to break that glass ceiling, whether you are in the Middle East or in Africa or in Asian countries. The
Mhm.
glass ceiling does exist. It is
Mhm.
still there. It's very. It is. I can see it every
Mhm.
day. I can see it every day. And I feel that even after having so much of potential, women have not been able to uh, reach the top of their own arenas. Very few women, you can just count them on your fingertips.
Mhm.
So They have the potential in them to do well. They have the potential in them to do extremely well, but then we are not giving them the equal opportunities. We are tying them in traditions and cultures. We are telling them to not to go out of the homes after a particular time. We are telling them to speak in a particular manner. We are telling them to sit in a particular manner, stand in a particular manner, wear particular kinds of dresses only, cover your face, cover your head in so many cultures. We are tying them in unnecessary and orthodox and completely obsolete rules and regulations, which should not have any place in today's world in the first place. But that's the tragedy of even the present times. We're not being able to do away with it. Why not? Even I am scared to go out of my home after a particular time at night. Uh, and why am I afraid? Why is it not safe enough for me to go out of the home after a particular time, even after I feel that I'm an empowered woman? Even why is it not all right for me to wear the kind of clothes that my husband or my sons would wear at home? So these are certain areas which need to be discussed. And as I said, laws and rules and regulations will not do much for us unless and until we condition our minds to think differently from what we have been taught, from what we have been fed since our birth. Think like this, women are this, women are that, men are this, men are that. So uh, around the world, I talk to empowered women. I talk to them. I find relief in the kind of work that they are doing. But then again, at the end of the day, I would like to say that how many of them are there? There should have been more. There are very less, very, very less.
But in present international arena, we find that I'm a man, and I'm representing a big portions of people. But at present world, if we observe New Zealand, if we observe Germany, if we observe Taiwan, all of the women leader running this kind of successful country in COVID-19 situations. On the other hand, people, a man like me, we are not too much of successful in politics, administrations, and many more things. What's the reason? What do you think? You are a researcher in international arena. How do you want to observe this success history of New Zealand, Germany, Taiwan, Norway, Iceland? What the women leader? What the behind the issues? How why women are successful even now in politics? How you want to explain this point?
Well, I don't think that there is any different mantra for women to succeed in politics.
Mhm,
Some people are good in certain areas, irrespective of whether you are a male or a female. I think
mhm,
you are good in certain areas. Some people are good doctors, some people are good lawyers, some people are good
mhm,
teachers, some people are good politicians, some people are
mhm,
good artists. So I think that is irrespective of your gender.
mhm,
I think uh, I do not have a proper answer to this question, but yes, I would
mhm,
like to see more women in the public arena. I would like to see more successful women instead of just the handful of ones that we are talking about. Uh, I would like to see more faces, more successful faces, because I see so much of potential in women, as I have told you before. And women are no less than men. If there are 50% successful men, there are 50% successful women too. And in
mhm,
both male and female, I think there are equal number of people who are not successful as well. So I don't think this has got anything to do with our gender at all. But yes, as I said earlier, I would like to see more women out there come
mhm.
out into the speak about your issues, lead the world, just come out of your homes.
Mhm. No, but like as a like gender researchers, like what do you think? Do you don't think that women politicians, they are more caring about people? They are like they have their own like motherhood attitudes, and they caring about people. They are more honest about their jobs, and they love peoples, and by this way, they become more successful. What do you think? What do you think? A woman has a specific character. They are more caring about people. Even I saw that today you have a lot of response. Definitely, I think they are your friends. So I'm also seeing that as a guest, I think you have a huge response. Many people observing you. I think they have a specific character. They are more caring about people. they are more positive about people. What do you think? Is it working for the leaderships or not?
Yes, I think as I told you earlier, women handle problems less aggressively, and as I had said earlier, if more women are at the helm of affairs, if more women lead the world, I think it will be a better place, less aggressive than it is now at present. But again, I come back to the same issue. Yes, you are very right there. Women are more caring. We are naturally endowed towards being caring and understanding, and we have, I think, better communicative skills than men. So maybe yes, that gives us an edge. That gives us an edge not just in the political arena, but in almost every field of work, provided we get the chance to. And why am I saying we get a chance to? Because it is impossible for so many women to break that stereotype of tradition, culture, homes, the bindings, come out in the open and prove themselves, establish their own personality. I think it's difficult that way for them, very difficult. Of course, things are changing, we are working towards changing it, but then a lot needs to be done. When you go to the field, when you talk to these women who are exploited, who are discriminated against, who face injustice almost every day, then you feel that somehow the scenario is really really bad, and you need so much to improve.
Yeah, I just want to more discuss on your international NGO that they are working with different kind of technological aspects, and they are working with different countries. They have a very good objective in education arenas, and you are also running their magazines and your editorials. So what's your visions? How you can contribute more? What kind of support you are looking from around the world? Uh, what's your plan actually?
Like as I said, TAFS is a non-governmental organization, and it's a kind of an umbrella organization where we aim to bring researchers, scholars from all disciplines, from all areas, from around the globe. And together we are trying to build something. We're trying to create something which would make the world a better place for every one of us. Now, TABS is running various programs simultaneously. We have the journal, which is a peer-reviewed journal, and we publish peer-reviewed articles there. It is headed by Dr. Doris Noji. We have the magazine, which I'm heading. There is this mentorship program which we are running, where we work with teens from across the globe, and so that we can provide them some kind of mentorship in this in areas where they feel that they cannot talk to their parents or to their peers. So we provide that kind of mentorship also to the teens. We have a podcast running
Mhm,
where we
mhm,
talk about issues which affect society in general. And along with that, we also hold a conference last year on um, the situation in Africa and how it can and how we can work
mhm,
towards making it sustainable. Um, so these are the areas right now where TABS is working. And your other question was the vision. You asked me about the
mhm,
vision. Okay, so what we okay, now let me again tell you something else. In TABS last year, what we did is we had this nominations. We nominated people who are doing exemplary work in different fields of in the world. Like we nominated 20 futurist authors who are doing exceptional work in the field, in their respective fields, in the fields, diverse fields of science, technology, literature, economics, politics. And then we nominated 20 futurist leaders. We also nominated 10 activists the world needs to listen to. The world needs to really give ear to what they are saying. So what we are trying to do by nominating these people is that we are trying to recognize the selfless and tireless work that these people are doing in order to make the world a better place for every one of us. So this is our way of saying thank you to those people, to encourage them, to motivate them to keep working in the areas that they are doing at present. Now, TAFFs, the vision of TAFFs is to prepare everyone for the kind of future that we are going to see unfold in the years to come. We are trying to prepare everyone for different challenges in the fields of biotechnology, nanotechnology. There is artificial intelligence, robotics, and so many other areas. And we are trying to uh, bring about consciousness, awareness, dialogue, conversations on these areas so that people are aware. And tomorrow, when the future unfolds, we are not caught off guard. So that is what the vision of TAFs is all about.
Okay, this is very interesting
Yes,
activity you are. Yes, please continue.
yes, let me add, Mr. Rana. Yes, let me. We are looking for people to come and help us in many ways. They can become a part of their organization. They can uh, they can add to it in so many different ways. So I would encourage everyone to please come to us, visit our website, talk to the leaders, and then find out what our visions are. And if they feel that, okay, they can contribute towards our vision, then they are most welcome to become partners in this journey of ours.
Okay, this is very interesting. Beside that, there are many audience response. I try to find out is there any question for you, Chandra. Okay, he said it's a good way to go. Then Sobha Sharma, she is very encouraging, and anyway, there are many good comments on your discussion. I'm just looking for a questions. Question. Okay, Ferdos Rana, she is asking a question that I have a different question. As you are working on women empowerment increase the chance of domestic violence. I don't know. Is it true or only for controlling women in South Asian country? What's your opinion? Like domestic violence and this kind of things. I think she want more of your opinion on that. Beside that, there are many good feedback on your discussion, Mr. Bharat, and many actually audience actually joining. I think all of them are your friends and you have a very good friends. This is actually a very motivational point for World Talent Economy Forums, and actually World Talent Economy Forum want more Dr. Sarita, those who are positive like her, those who are very encouraging. We want to take your interview. We want to explore your positive work around the world, and this is your great achievement, Doctor. Yes. So what you want to say about this domestic violence and these issues?
So her question was that women empowerment leads to domestic violence.
She yes, she's trying to say in that way, but you can explain according to your
Yes,
explanation.
yes, yes. Well, yes. When women become empowered, when women become independent, there is also another risk of domestic violence, a different kind of violence or a different kind of abuse being meted out to them. I have some friends who often tell me that, maybe my husband is not very happy because I'm economically independent. Maybe my
Mhm.
husband is not very happy because I'm an empowered woman. I have my own voice, and I do not take. I do not accept everything that he has to say. So I think that could also be one of the reasons. No, that I would not say that is a reason, but yes, there have been instances of domestic violence even on empowered and financially independent women. So it is not about whether domestic violence happens to you because you're empowered and you are financially independent, or you are not empowered and you are not financially independent. Domestic violence does not happen because of the woman. Domestic violence and abuse happens because of the man.
Mhm.
Domestic violence happens because he is a weak character, not because the woman is empowered, not because the woman is not empowered, not because the woman is financially independent, not because the woman is not financially independent.
Mhm.
Domestic violence happens because the man cannot control his emotions.
Mhm.
Domestic violence happens because the man is a weak character and he cannot uh, stop himself from abusing. So it's about domestic violence is about, it's not about the victim. I think it is about the abuser. We
Mhm.
have to, and there's one more thing which I would like to say on this front. I think we always talk about the victim.
Mhm.
She has been a victim of domestic violence, but we never
Mhm.
talk about the he who is the abuser. I think these people need to be brought to book. I think these
Mhm.
people need to be brought out into the open. They need to be shamed publicly. They need to be brought to the legal system. Something needs to be done so that these people do not go back to their homes with the same mindset. A few days ago, I was in a discussion with a few of my friends. We were having this discussion, and there's this lawyer, Malak Trabelsi. I think she was on your show in one of your shows.
Mhm. Mhm.
She was saying that it's so difficult for women to come out in the open and report it in the legal system also. You know, the kind of policing that we have, the kind of legal system that we have, it is the victim who is shamed. It is a victim who is again kind of abused when she goes out to complain about something that has happened to her at home. So I think this has to stop somewhere. I think we need to have more sensitive policing. We need to have more sensitive legal system in place. So there is a lot of upheaval that we need to do in the social, legal, and political scenario of the society in order to curb domestic violence. And again, I'd like to reiterate on the point that domestic violence does not happen because of the woman. Domestic violence happens because the man is weak, because he cannot control his emotions.
Mhm. Okay, let's try to prove some hypotheses. First hypothesis, I want to give you. I'm not for or against. I will give you hypothesis. You try to solve it in your own way. First things like that, like women's, like example, like women empowerment. When women empowerment increase, uh, that time actually the divorce rate and this kind of things increasing in the society. So you agree with this hypothesis or not? If you do not agree or you agree, what's the reason behind that?
I do not agree
Very good,
because
very good.
women empowerment should not be a reason for divorce. There must
Mhm.
be some other reason. There must be some other, because you do not complement each other anymore. Maybe your opinions do not match. Maybe there is some genuine problem between the two of you. But because the woman is empowered, you cannot put this blame on the empowered women. No, I do not agree.
Mhm. Okay, like I'm not for or against. I'm trying to give you the social concept, like
I
the
Yes,
socially they
I
believe in
understand.
that way. Yes. Second
I know.
things, there many women even believe that women actually the real enemy of another woman. Is it true or not true? What's your thought?
No, it is not true. It may be partially
Okay.
true.
Okay.
Why I'll tell you? Why I'll tell you? Because
Mhm.
since birth, we have conditioned, we have been pitted against one another.
Mhm.
That woman is more beautiful than you.
Mhm. Mhm.
So that woman is more talented than you. Okay. So if you're not good enough, if you're not beautiful enough, if you do not have the figure to keep impressing your men, then he will just go and pick up someone else.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
that insecurity has been there in women since time immemorial. And what used to happen in ancient times, the women used to wait in the cave for the men to come back. They used to go to hunt.
Mhm.
In course of hunting, they used to stay away from their families for days, months, even years. And then what would a men do? You'd find another woman. He would make a family with her. He would have some relation. He would establish relations with her, and the other woman who is waiting for in the cave would die of insecurity. So, we have always been pitted against one another. It's high time that women understand this. And it's high time we stop this kind of social conditioning. We stop this kind of comparing. She's better than you. She's smarter than you. She has a better figure than you. I think that should stop. And women are, I think, now we have all these like the brotherhood concept, we have sisterhood concept coming. I have some great women friends. Women are pulling each other up. We are there. We stand for one another. And especially educated and empowered women definitely stand for other women. And they are not a threat to other women. They should not be.
Okay, thank you. There are a few other audience response. I directly go there. Many people actually get giving a positive feedback about your talk. Mr. Bharat enjoying the talk, very interesting and informative. Shumanta, she said your words are quite inspiring. Mohammad Shoaib Rana, he's doing a lot of work for WT Forum. He said, Dr. Sharita, really enjoying the discussion. If possible, please suggest on best strategic technique from changing the world through tips. Like they want to know more about your strategy and this kind of things. Chandra, she said, can you please tell us your observation about the role of family in empowering a daughter or woman? Humaira said, hello ma'am, enjoying your speech, thanks a lot. Yeah. I think there are two
Okay.
specific issues. One is they want to know your international NGOs strategy, how you want to change the world. On the other hand, another question is the role of family in women empowerment.
Okay. So let me answer the first question. As I said earlier, the vision of TAFFD is to create awareness, to create more dialogue, more conversation on areas which need to be discussed, on areas which need to be brought out in the open, and so that tomorrow, when the future unfolds right in front of our eyes, we are not caught off guard. So that is the main vision of TAFFD. I would like to request. I forgot his name. The person who asked the question. I would like to request him to please visit our website, connect to us. You can even message me on Messenger, and we can, if there is a possibility of we coming together and doing some kind of meaningful work for the world, why not? I think we should all join hands. If there is something, if there is an idea in your mind, if there is something which you feel you can add to the organization, then we'd be very happy to have you here. So it's a transdisciplinary organization, and we encourage everything that is happening under the sun and under the moon in order to make the world a better place. We encourage all kinds of research, all kinds of dialogues, all kinds of conversations. We are open for communication. And um, yes, and I would like to request the people who are watching us to please visit the website, try to know more about us, and get in touch with us. And yes, the second question, Mr. Sharif, was on.
It's about the uh, role of family on women empowerment. Role of family.
Yes,
He want to know more about
yes,
the role of family. Yes.
yes. So I think it is. I speak from the Asian context, especially Indian context. I think the family has to provide all kinds of support for a woman to empower herself. When a daughter is born, it's the foremost duty of the father. It's the foremost duty of the father to see to it that she grows into being an empowered woman. He needs to look after her education and not of marrying her off. He needs to. In India, we have the system of dowry. I don't know if in Bangladesh or Malaysia you have this kind of dowry issues. In India, in some communities we have. Okay, we do not have dowry in my community, in Assam, in the part that I live in. But in India as a whole, in other parts of the country, we have the system of dowry. So a father, right after the birth of a girl child, starts assembling her dowry, and in most cases, you would not let a girl child be born. he would do something to her, in her, in the mother's uh, body itself, so that she doesn't even come out. I think the role of the family becomes very important, because let the girl child be born, uh, let her come out, let her leave the world just like her male counterpart would, just like a son would. The role of the father becomes extremely important, because in some societies the mother is also seen in a very bad light if she gives birth to a girl child. It is as if her fault that she has given birth to a girl child, even after all these scientific researches that claim that a woman has nothing to do with the sex of the child. But then she is always blamed in our social context. So I think the role of the father becomes extremely important here. He has to support his wife, he has to support his daughter, so that he can uh, he can uh, encourage her to grow into a motivated and a very empowered woman. Like, I would like to speak from our own personal experience. We are four daughters in our family. We are four
Mhm.
daughters and one son, but my father is a very, very positive person. He never ever thought of us as daughters. His only vision was to see to it that his daughters were as educated as his son, and that his daughters turned out to be empowered women. So when we looked at him, we felt that we were no less than the men. When we
Mhm.
looked at that positivity in his eyes, that encouragement in his eyes, we never for a split second also felt that we were any less than any man. So I think that kind of motivation comes from a father more than a mother. It is
Mhm.
first the
Mhm.
father and then the mother. So
Mhm.
yes, the role of the
Yeah.
family becomes so, so important.
No, no, I'm also a South Asian culture. So my grandmother, she was a great motivator for our whole family. She has my like five son and five daughters, and all of them actually highly educated because of her motivations and backup and support. Anyway, there are more interesting questions and more debatable, I think, questions for you. I think people like your discussions. Jeremy, he said that does women empowerment mean gender inequality? The man cannot control his emotion. Like, what's your thought? Is it mean that domestic violence is purely based on emotion? Who is more emotional, women or men? What does the science say about this? Okay, you have to handle these things. Araf Mehra, okay, he said how to measure women empowerment, where most of the women in South Asia are housewives.
Yes.
One good
Well, the
point.
first question was,
One good point I just want to add from Malaysia, because even in WT forum you can find there are many women from university. They are well established professor. They come. I saw their personal life. They handle, maybe even I know few professor. They have 9 children. Successful professor, successful housewife, the drive, the wiring his up. I think if you, I know that you have many friends from Malaysia and other country, but if you see our WT forum, different Malaysian women, you will be really motivated. And how I see the even corporate women's, even the political women's and many peoples from Malaysian context, it's really positive example for Muslim world. And I want to say this is the modern Muslim world. Everybody can learn different things. So here glass ceiling, yes, still they are struggling, but here those who are successful women, they are really dynamic. Even you can see that WT forum, we have many women, successful women from Malaysia. They are really motivating. Yes, yes. Come to the questions, because
yes.
it's really interesting question for you.
Yes, I saw some of the interviews on WT Forum, where women wearing hijab were speaking on several issues. So I am not saying that if a woman wears a hijab, she's not empowered. I would never say that. It is her right whether she wants to wear a hijab, whether she wants to cover her face or not cover her face. It is her right. It should be her right, but in so many places, it is not her right. She's forced into doing a particular thing in a particular manner. So that force should not be there. The
True.
question was how women can be empowered when so many of them are housewives.
Yes,
What was the question, Mr.
yes, there is a question to two persons. Like first person that he raised the question that for domestic violence, emotion is very important because when domestic violence happen, emotion come. So who is really emotional, man or women? What are the real scenarios? Like he want to know. And on the other hand, Araf Meraz, he said that many women in South Asia they are housewife but everybody not like Dr. Sharita, right? There are many women still their housewife. So how we measure the empowerment because many women actually still housewife. What do you think?
Yes. I would like to take up the second question first. Uh, let's change the term housewife for homemaker.
Yes, understand.
If you did not have a wife at home
Mm-hmm.
who uh, who let go of her aspirations and ambitions in order to become your homemaker, you'd have had to hire a manager to look after the whole house. You'd
True.
have had to hire a nanny for your children. You'd have
Yes.
had to hire a cook in order to cook all those delicious and tasty food. You'd have had to hire a cleaner in order to clean the house. So even being a homemaker, you can be an empowered woman even if you are a homemaker, provided you have the kind of support from your family,
Mm-hmm.
provided the male of the house realizes the kind of sacrifices that you have made in order to make his house a home. I
Mm-hmm.
think we can do a lot of things even from homes. It is not necessary to go out in the open and earn all the time. But then there has to be consensus between the husband and the wife. The husband has to understand what she has given up in order to make the house a home. And at the same time, he can also help her in being empowered from within the house also. Uh, there are many women who work online, who conduct online classes, who do all kinds of work, online work. So that can also lead to empowerment. Of course, in India, as I said, ground reality is very, very dismal. We need to have more empowered women. We need to break this tag of housewife. She's in the home, she does nothing. That is
Mm-hmm.
not true. I think we should have a system where we start paying salary to the woman who stays at home and does all the housework. Then we could talk about women empowerment, even in this kind of a scenario. So I think that is how I would like to see it. That's how I would like to see women empowerment, and the question of being a housewife, consensus between the man and the wife. Okay, I will tackle the outside world and you take care of the home, but don't uh, discriminate me because I stay at home and look after the family. Don't exploit me because I stay at home and look after the family. Don't do any of that. I'm equal to you, and I have chosen to be a homemaker instead of going out and looking and doing some other kind of job. I'm staying at home and making the house a home. I think that is also a matter of pride there. The other
And
question was, who is
uh,
more emotional?
yes, yes.
Yes,
It's,
emotional emotions should not turn into aggression.
mhm,
Everyone is emotional. Some men are also very emotional. Women are, we have always categorized them as being very emotional. They burst into tear at every instant. That is how we have always seen women, which may not be true also, but we have always categorized them as being emotional. But emotion should not turn into aggression. A man might have pent up feelings against his wife. A man may have many issues. He may not agree to many of her things. It is not necessary that he agree to everything that she has to say. It is not necessary that he worship her like a goddess. But then he can come to the table. He can communicate with her. He can talk to her in a civilized manner. You have pent up feelings against your boss. You dislike your boss. You don't go and hit your boss, do you? You have some disagreement with your friend. You don't accept what your friend has to say, but then you don't throw that glass on the floor and terrify your friend and try to hit him just because you do not agree to him. You don't do that. Why do men do that to women?
Mhm.
That has to that definitely has to stop. And this is what I was saying when I said that people who do not and who cannot control their emotions are abusers in a relationship. We need to control. Of course, in one of the discussions, one of the panelists was saying that women are also abusive to some extent. In some cases, there might be women also who are abusers, but the bottom line here is we should not let our emotions become aggressive, and we should not lash out, hit at someone just because we think that that person is not physically equal to us. So we cannot exploit that. So when I said we need to control our emotions, that's what I said. We need to stop ourselves from getting aggressive. If you do not agree to something, if you need to say something, if you need to prove your point to the other person, come to the negotiating table, talk, communicate, express your feelings. There has to be better communication in order to have a good family life.
Mhm. And beside that, I just want to add one thing. Let's say me and my wife, we study together, as well as when I come to abroad and I finish my PhD, then she also trying to finish her another MBA and this kind of things. But issue is that I think in that way as a man, like if I do not have a educated mother, then what will happen? My children, how they grow, because how a woman contribute for the family, this is whatever I'm doing for my family, right? So if I do not have an educated woman and she do not know how to like raise the children and everything, it's actually difficult. It's not only that who is doing household work, most important how we raise our futures, how we raise our children and our family. So if I do not have an educated mother, it's quite impossible. Even yeah, I learned it from my family. Like my grandmother, she was very like positive about educations. That's why all of my like my auntie, they are doctors, they are lawyers, even my uncle. This is because of my grandmother. If my grandmother, I hear from her because he already passed away. So she is also from India, from Kolkata. So she said that I always encourage my children that you have to be educated. You have to be educated. Men and women, this is not the issues. So that is for most important. If my like great scholar, what they say, if you have an educated mother, then you have a good nation. So family wise, this is also important. This is not issue only who is cooking, who is not cooking, who is cleaning. This is not issue is that how we raise our futures, how we develop our futures. If we have a combination of educated mother and educated fathers and they have a good visions, so then we have a very good futures. Otherwise, I don't know what the meaning of the family. So anyway, there are actually very good response. I know you have a 1 hour, maybe I have to extend few more minutes for you because of audience response. Muhammad Shirazuddin, he said, really, women in the social engineering, her work in began at childhood age. Okay. Bharat, he said, in inviting cards, we start with Mr. or Mrs. In India, we worship goddess for energy. Still, women are discriminated in India and many parts of the world. I believe to empower women in the society, the men need to be made aware or educated, and then only some things can be achieved. Your opinions or on Sarita? I think he's trying to discuss on the when we give a invitation card, we say Mr. This, Mrs. That. What's your opinions? And already Kalpana, she said proud of you. So you have very good friends and family. They are really proud of you. We are also proud of you that we are inviting you. Okay. So how do you want to handle this question, or situations, or the social point of view? Yeah.
Uh, Technically speaking, when you write Mr. and Mrs., suppose Mr. and Mrs. Rana is technically wrong.
Mm-hmm,
It should be Mrs. and Mr. Rana.
mm-hmm,
You are Mr. Rana. So
mm-hmm,
it should be Mrs. and Mr. Rana, technically speaking. But then again, there are so many women who change their surnames after marriage.
mm-hmm.
Some don't. I haven't. And it's all right with my family, with my husband. It's all right. He's fine with that. So I think everything comes down to how you look at it, how you perceive it from your individual angle, how you see it. Some people are all right with being called as Mrs. I don't know. Your wife may be all right with someone calling you Mrs. Calling her Mrs. Rana. Some may not be all right being addressed by their husband's surname. So I think it all boils down to how you take it as an individual. It's all right. Small things do not matter. I think we have to think in the larger arena where there is equality for everyone, where a woman can take up any profession of her choice, any education of her choice, when a woman has equal choices as men, when she does not have to curb her ambitions in order to make way for someone else or in order to tend to the family. So I think we need to focus on the larger areas here. So small adjustments can be made on an individual level. That's what I would like to say.
Yes, yeah, but I just want to share something from my personal life. I can share publicly, no problem. Like, I never enforce my wife that put Mrs. Sharif or Mrs. Rana or something like that. She with her individual name, I have my individual names. We never practice that. Even actually, you from South Asia. My name is Sharif Uddin Ahmed Rana. Then we have Chaudhuri for my family. But when I started my O levels, I omit it. Okay, I will not add Chaudhuri because this is something creates some headache in my mind. So better I omit it. My father do the same things. Anyway, so this is very interesting discussion, Dr. Sarita, and many of the people has too much of faith on you. So one point I just want to ask, and this is the last question from my side. Like, what's your personal vision next 10 years? How you there are too much of challenge, too much of a problem, but you have a lot of solution as well. How do you want to handle this kind of things next 10 years, or what's your personal visions, and what you want to give a specific advice for women?
My vision is to see all kinds of discrimination being reduced to the dust. I do not want to see any kind of discrimination based on gender, on your sexual choices, on your caste, creed, language, religion. I don't want to see discrimination of any kind in this world. We are all born equal. We have so much to give out. Every individual is special in his or her own rights. Every person has so much that we can learn from. There is so much boiling inside of us. Well, I was reading an article earlier in the day when there's this report that 10 million children may not be able to come back to school post COVID. So I was terrified on hearing this. I mean, how can this? I mean, what is the world coming to? We were just talking about universal education to everyone. In India, we're making sure that children under the age of 14 are not without preliminary education, that they get the minimum education at least. We were at least working in that area. We were just starting out. And here comes the devastating news that children will not be able to go back to school because of various reasons, economy being the foremost reason. Because the family will not have the means to send the children to school. They will need the children to, earn for themselves or even for the family, maybe. So this pains me. This really pains me. I wish I could do something where exploitation of all kinds ends, where discrimination of all kinds ends, where all human beings are equal, and we could lead humanity towards a future which is for our own good. So that's my vision. in the 5, 10, 15 years at TAFFD also we have the same kind of vision. We are trying to work towards a future which can give out equal opportunities to everyone out there. Through meaningful dialogues, through meaningful conversations, by creating awareness, by having discussions on these kinds of platforms. So let's try and make the world a better place for everyone, and especially women. I would like to say that uh, you need to be more conscious. You need to come out in the open. You have to fight. There is a very challenging role for you waiting just outside the doors of your homes, or maybe even inside the homes. You have to face so many challenges, you have to fight so many battles. Don't just give up. Try and win. You will win.
Mhm. Thank you, Dr. Sarita. There are more audience response before I close these sessions. Shangita, she said, just loving listening to Dr. Sarita. Sohel Rana, he said, it's a great discussion on women empowerment. Divya, he said, I agree with you. Bharat, he said, Mr. Sharif, my question and opinion was not expressed properly to the expert, please. Yes, I understand the issues. Try to understand when we take questions. If you write one line question, maybe it's better for our guest, like she can give you a specific answer. When you come up with your opinion, no problem, you can email us. Definitely we're going to discuss with our guest, and guest definitely give you a answer or many more things, no problem. But when the issues come, like she in the live session, she has to give a question answer, please one line questions, then it's better for her understand. And thank you everybody, proud of you. This is your social influence. I like, and World Talent Economy Forum like your approach, and we have different kind of policy discussions and dialogue in the futures. We will invite you, and most importantly, WT Forum, we not only focus on the discussions and dialogue, we love to take a lot of actions. So any of the things we can work together, definitely we will invite you. And most important thing is that World Talent Economy Forum want to invite more women like Dr. Sarita. If you have interesting history, interesting contribution for the society like her, please communicate with her. Definitely we're going to invite you in the futures. And thank you, Dr. Sarita Sharma, for your amazing discussion. And this is really meaningful for World Talent Economy Forum. And good luck for you and for your family.
Thank you so much, Mr. Rana, and I would like to thank all my viewers for being here, for putting your valuable comments and your questions. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Rana.
Thank you.